I don't watch your stream often enough, but to clarify, when I said you don't have real opinions, it was regarding your H3 podcast. I commented a hasty generalization question. I don't believe all your beliefs are out of spite and do hold merit in many topics. No, man, I'm spite filled. Look at me. I just cast aside the bisexuals in this community out of spite. A lot of my politics is spite based, brother. Don't worry about it. Yeah, I got hella spite, dude. I got a lot in the tank.
I did want
to. Here, let's start off with this Jon Stewart take though, because I think, despite his fall off, he might have a good one here because he was a big advocate for funding the Zadroga bill, if you recall, and he had to fucking bully Congress very publicly in order for Congress members to finally come along and support funding the first responders bill for the 9/11 first responders fund, basically, who are still suffering from fucking cancer and shit. Anyway, I gotta pee though.
Point out, just to push back a little bit on this. So the Republicans, when you say what you said, they do not support veterans. The Republicans push back, saying there is unrelated spending within this.
It's not. It's just not true. What they're saying is they don't like that it's mandatory as opposed to discretionary. There isn't unrelated spending to it. They're saying there could be if there wasn't oversight, but that's what the Senate's job is. The bill itself is incredibly detailed and prescriptive about what it's for. It's about treating and preventing the different conditions that veterans are coming home with, including cancers and chronic bronchiolitis and all these other issues from their exposures in Iraq and Afghanistan. And to push back on what they're saying, what if this creates a slush fund, right? So are you familiar with something called the OCO, the Overseas Contingency Operations Fund?
Fairly, yes.
So every year, $50 billion, $60 billion, $70 billion is added to what's called the OCO on top of the $600 billion, $700 billion, $800 billion that goes to the Defense Department. That OCO fund is actually a slush fund, $60 to $70 billion.
I'm not gonna lie, Jon Stewart ain't beating the fucking lib accusations wearing a seatbelt in the parking lot, okay? I mean, he almost caught it. He almost caught the vibes of ranting from his fucking car in the driver's seat. You know what I'm saying? That's conservative as hell. You know what I mean? That's on brand. But he's literally in a fucking car that is stopped. Okay, in a parking lot, and homie's got the seatbelt on. That is, Jon Stewart is gonna do rally to restore sanity too, and I will be there. Yeah.
Every year, no oversight, no guardrails, and every one of those Republicans that voted against health care for veterans voted for the slush fund for the war. They don't support the troops. They support the war machine. And that's got to stop.
Good take, though. I mean, he's right about that. It's pretty basic, hypocrisy take, but, it is true. That doesn't change the reality that it is 100% true. And he's right about that. If we actually cared about the troops or whatever, right, we would be funding the VA instead of trying to fucking downsize it regularly, trying to gut it, and limiting its reach, limiting its impact. It's an ever-growing pool of people who desperately need healthcare, right? And instead of fucking funding it further, right? They try to use it as an argument against how socialized medicine simply doesn't work.
The value in the U.S. military isn't in the toys. It's not in the hardware. It's not in the tanks. It's in the men and women. And until they...
I mean, that's such a lib take. Oh, man. I'm tearing up thinking about how important the military is. Oh, God. The value in the military is in the troops. It's bro, military is quite literally relying on a poverty draft in an effort to sucker in people who are coming from upper middle class, but also middle class, and poor families in bad conditions, as giving them a little bit, just a crumb of like European style social democracy if they survive and don't get fucking PTSD and have holes in their brain. You know what I mean? It's great. And its entire purpose is the death and destruction of the third world, pretty much, to serve the military-industrial complex. VA has the highest satisfaction of any healthcare scheme in the U.S. True story, Gallup data, I think. Even then, it is still significantly underfunded. But why do they give billions to the Havana Syndrome fucks and not the people who are actually exposed to burn pits in Agent Orange? Because that's the CIA. That's not the military. Those are the real troops. Those are the white collar, mid-level marketing manager energy troops that we have, okay? Free Medicare for veterans is just kind of Starship Trooper like. Yeah, no, it's service guarantee citizenship is what it is. Service guarantees like a crumb of social, a crumb of socialized medicine. Service guarantees a crumb of socialized medicine and like a means to fucking afford a college education, so you can see a semblance of upward social mobility. That is completely that is just not something that is feasible for most people. The vet housing loan was 0 down too. Yeah, that too. VA loans. Anyway. CIA is the lanyard class, much above the grunts. Exactly. The CIA like went to Yale and shit, so they need to be protected. These are not like high school graduate grunts that are getting fucking private piled at Fort Bragg. This is like you're talking about like liberal arts graduates from fucking Yale University who are going in and doing soft power, going in and doing like clandestine operations. Or, sometimes enthusiasts, passport enthusiasts, like our boy Paul Whelan. Okay? Passport enthusiasts. What do you mean? Homie he was a Marine too, but, he just likes having passports. What's wrong with that? It's not a crime. Show me the crime. Show me where it says you can't have 4 passports. Yeah, you can't. Show me the crime of what? Grabbing a USB with information, compromising information in it? Sorry. Yeah, fucking Russia, dude. Taking out people who love passports is fucked up. Anyway, my business provides nurses for VA hospitals, and they're typically 5-6 months behind on payments. So I have to front that money to the nurses to be able to provide. That's why independent companies like mine don't want to deal with the VA, but we do it for the vets pretty much. Doing what the government should be. And that's a story as old as time itself, my friend. The American government shifting over the cost and responsibility of what a publicly funded healthcare infrastructure should look like to third-party corporations. Oftentimes, third-party corporations that quite literally take advantage of the government funds in an effort to squeeze out every ounce of profit they can.
Start supporting them in the manner that they purport to online.
Yeah.
They are hypocrites.
It is.
Let's see what Jon Stewart had to say.
All you care.
Let's look at him rallying for change.
About.
He personally signed the proclamation to send me to war.
Boy, they haven't met a war they won't sign up for, and they haven't met a veteran they won't screw over. What the fuck are we?
Barbaric. It's barbaric.
And now they're going to go away.
Weren't you meant to be taking a day off today? Why would I take a day off today? When have I ever taken a day off in general? So weird.
Pat Toomey says, I've got veterans groups behind me. I call bullshit. These are the veterans groups. VFW, American Legion, IAVA, Wounded Warriors, DAV, AMVETS. They're all here. This is the veterans community, Senator. They don't stand behind you. In fact, you won't let them stand in front of you.
He's a coward.
Cowards, all of them. Cowards, all of them. And now they
What's up with the sarcastic undertone about Jon Stewart? I mean, dude, he is a bit okay. I'm all in favor of funding programs that help veterans, but I'm also in favor of expanding healthcare not just to veterans, but across the board to every single individual. Okay. And I think a lot of the things that Jon Stewart cares about is like the hypocrisy itself, rather than like or issues that pertain to the veterans, issues that pertain to first responders. Um I don't see this kind of energy or passion out of him for any other issue. I guess maybe like animal welfare too, but like this always has been the fucking play ever of American imperialism: discard the use of Husk veterans. That, and also his Apple Plus show has like a lot of weird centrist tones to it. I feel like Jon Stewart is not focusing his advocacy. He's not focusing his advocacy on you know, the real issues as much. I mean, you can say chatter was tone policing, but the dialogue around Jon Stewart is also a bit tone policing, if we're being honest. No, I mean, he's great. This is great. Great for him. You know what I mean? At least he didn't go the Stephen Colbert route. But it does feel like he just kind of gave up. And his Apple Plus show, which is fucking not great, not doing great at all. His Apple Plus show and the movie that he came out with about like basically centrism showed me at the very least that he like does not understand the politics of now. Vets are only a teeny tiny percent of the entire U.S. population in need. He's continued to shed light on America's war crimes as it follows, and eventually crimes against his own soldiers.
They say, well, this will get done maybe on the after we get back from our summer recess, maybe during the lame duck, because they're on Senate time. Do you understand? You live around here. Senate time is ridiculous. These motherfuckers live to 200. They're tortoises. They live forever, and they never lose their jobs, and they never lose their benefits, and they never lose all those things. Well, they're not on Senate.
Describe Colbert, please. That would be interesting. I liked the show when I was young, living in a Republican family, but now he's Mr. Showbiz. I think that he has, Stephen Colbert is just like completely checked out. Just like basic, hyper liberal guy.
Senate time, they're on human time, cancer time. Don't you have families? Don't you have people who are deciding how to live their last moments? I know some of them. They've been down here advocating with us. They spent their remaining
No, I love the Colbert Report.
time
He's great.
advocating so that other soldiers didn't have to face the indignities and the depravity and the desperation that they faced. And none of them will hear it. And none of them care. Except to tweet. Boy, they'll tweet it. Can't wait to see what they come up with on Veterans Day, on Memorial Day. Well, this is the reality of it. I honestly don't even know what to say anymore.
I don't think this is the same as Nancy Pelosi aesthetically like putting on the kente cloth or whatever. No, like this is an issue that he truly cares about. I'm glad that he's doing this advocacy. I'm glad that he cares about all this shit, right? Like I'm happy with what Jon Stewart is doing. It's good. If there were any criticisms to be made of Jon Stewart's advocacy nowadays, though, it's just like, it's just I think he's just focusing on areas of change that he can make change in, and that's it. I'm used to the hypocrisy. I'm not used to the cruelty. He says, yeah. I don't think Zoomers have as many people in their generation who enlisted and came back completely angry at all. Colbert Report style satire doesn't really work anymore when reality is too bizarre to satirize. I do Hank Pecker shit regularly. I think you can still do it. Anyway, Jon Stewart is good. People love nitpicking and being dumb, though. No, Jon Stewart is good. I wish he was better. That's all I'm saying. Do you get it? I wish he was better. But he was always kind of like this, the, rally for sanity type attitude. It's like pretty aesthetics focused liberal stuff that he's always advocated for. Um, but you know, for the time of his existence, when he was in operation, he was one of the few sane voices, I would say. Themasius, I already have your playlist. He was one of the few sane voices, I would say, that that broke through the mold